It's Thursday, April 4th. I'm Adam Walsh. This is The Signal. Today on the show, we are live on location at Palm Beauty Store in the Village Mall. It's a Black-owned small business, and we're going to have a chat about small business development, community, culture, and there's loads of layers to today's conversation to get started. Joining me is my main guest, Laura Umba. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Adam?
Nice to see you again.
I know, a long time.
I know. Thanks for doing this.
Anytime.
It's a few shows we've done together now. So, for those of you who don't know, Laura Bell does many things. Public speaker, host of Out of the Fog for Rogers TV in St. John's. Also, something formerly called Race to Dinner, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show.
Absolutely.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Paint the picture, set the scene for us today.
So we are here at Palm's Beauty Store, and it is actually really cool for me because I get to now walk into a hair salon with people who know how to do black hair, and I don't have to explain what black hair is. And we have clients in here, girls getting their hair relaxed, getting haircuts, and others waiting for treatments that a lot of black women don't get to walk into regular salons and experience, but something we deserve, a luxury that shouldn't have to be a luxury.
Yeah, right. A luxury that shouldn't have to be a luxury. So, what has been the delay around having a luxury that shouldn't be this luxury?
I think from the business end, access to funding for a lot of black entrepreneurs, being able to have financing, being able to have location that is affordable for these kinds of businesses. But then in terms of the way community, hair schools seem to not think that the black market is worth investing in how to care for our hair, which surprises me because black women invest a lot of money into hair care. It is like, if your hair is done, then you are done. If your hair is not done, we are not going out in public. So to know that the beauty industry within Newfoundland and Labrador hasn't picked up on that yet is a little disappointing. But it has given room for people like Esther to come in and make themselves known. So.
Yeah, Esther Success, who's the owner, who we'll be speaking to when she's not cutting someone's hair.
Absolutely.
The last time we did a show, it was back beginning of February, Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
This is not
No.
February. Can you just give us a word on like the importance of having conversations like this throughout the year and what they mean?
Absolutely. So when you relegate these conversations to just February, it means black people are only visible in just February, but we exist in this province and in community all through the year. So expanding this throughout the rest of the year keeps the conversation going, keeps our visibility in the public eye and community, and it makes it not so much of a token thing. You get more invested in who we are as people and not just use February as this is Black Month and then the rest of the year we don't exist.
When this place opened, and you mentioned how important it was, but like run me through just that first time for you and what it meant.
So when I found out she was opening, I was on Instagram doing the scrolly scroll, and then I knew she was a home-based business, and I was like, cool, great, we have more black-owned home-based businesses. And then she said she got a location. And the immediate text thread that opened up on my phone of all the black women that I knew, I was like, did you hear? We get a salon. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, we get a salon. We can go into a store and get our hair done and not have to explain how to do our hair. And this overwhelming sense of relief of not having to explain myself to someone is really nice, because I can't even begin to explain to people what it feels like to call up a salon and be like, do you know how to do black hair? And the answer being like, yeah, I can dye your hair black. And I was like, okay, let me rephrase my question. Do you know how to do Afro textured hair? And then they'd be like, no, but I'm willing to try. And then you're like, okay, I will be your experiment, but then still having to pay full price for an experimental process that doesn't work the way it should. It's kind of disappointing. And then when you call around to be like, okay, where can I go to actually get this taken care of, and have the resounding community tell you you are on your own.
So then when we think about community building, when you see these types of places, so like where we are today, other ones like it, like 1949 Barbershop downstairs, when you see the creation of them, what does that mean for whether it's the Black community, capital B, whether it's for African diaspora from different countries here, or just the visibility overall for everyone?
It lets me know that I'm not transitory, that I get to build a home here. So I've lived here for over 10 years, and a lot of people are like, do you call it home? And I was like, I'm beginning to, because I'm finding things that make me feel at home. Because if you can walk into spaces and access things that everyone else can access, then you feel like you belong in a space and you feel like you're part of a space, which means you can actually call that your community. But when you have to continuously go outside to find cosmetics, food, hair care, then I don't feel like I belong, and I can't feel like I can be permanent in an area.
So what else then has changed over the last decade from when you first came here to now, like including what we're talking about? What else has changed?
Lawton's now carries home hair care products, so I can go to Lawton's and Walmart and find brands that actually know how to care for my hair. I can find foundation that matches my skin tone and not have to do 7-process mixing in my kitchen to do so. I can find dance tights that I don't have to dip dye to make sure that if I want to take a dance class, my ballerina tights match my skin. So it's those kind of things that make it feel like I get to belong and I get to be part of the space, and I'm not just a commodity that works for the space and can't ever be part of it.
Yeah. When the day-to-day things that you would expect living in a community are finally made available, it's like, oh, I'm starting to feel like this is now a community for me, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and if it's not there, then of course, of course folks won't feel that, like, for putting down roots and stuff, because it's harder to get things. What else would you like to see then? If we're on this this track of progress, and we're talking about, well, from hair care at Lawton's to tights to makeup to hair salons, where's the progress going that you would like to see built?
I wouldn't want this to be a one-off. I don't want there to just be Palms Beauty. I want many more Palms Beauties, whether she starts a chain or other people feel like they can access the tools needed to create their own businesses in public, open areas. That's what the future looks like, where Black business isn't this one-off. It's as part of Newfoundland and Labrador's culture, as first choice, as BDCs, all of those things. If you can find Chess's Fish and Chips on every corner, you can find things that cater to Black care on every corner, and other racialized care as well.
Want to bring Nicole in?
Absolutely. Fishing.
Hey, Nicole, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, so folks, Nicole Obiodiaka here, founder of Centra, a nonprofit organization that provides resources for underrepresented entrepreneurs. How's stuff going?
Things are going really well. We've been able to have a workshop in another Black-owned market to support the Black businesses that exist, and we're currently trying to access and find more funding opportunities for grant opportunities for the Black-owned businesses and things on the education side as well to help them grow. So we're in the midst of working to get those together.
Cool. What types of Black-owned businesses are you hearing from, or for folks who are coming to you with ideas?
So it varies really. So there's folks in the technology and software side of things, and then there's people within the catering and food serving businesses. There's the hair businesses, and then there's also people in clothing, textile design, and then there's food. Those are the top that come to my mind, because that's where most of them are. But there's a lot of different types of Black businesses. Yeah.
What does it say to you that you're hearing from all these different types of Black businesses for right here in Newfoundland, Labrador, the St. John's metro area in particular?
Honestly, I would say the major thing that the Black-owned businesses are needing or are talking about is, number one, is access to funding. It's not something that's easily accessible through the commercial banks and things like that. And when that avenue is impossible, the other avenues like the MBOs or the CBDCs these Black-owned businesses aren't necessarily aware of them. Even as I'm in this process, I'm still getting to build that network and knowing, okay, what alternate solutions are there for grants or financing or advice for these Black-owned businesses. So where we aren't, I guess, as fully integrated within the community, or these services aren't directly marketed to us or put in our face, we're having to take the extra steps to go and search for it and find these people to take the time to reach out to these Black-owned businesses same way that they reach out to other type of businesses, because they are worthy and deserving of the support as well.
Since you've started with this, are you seeing change yet, or is it, because you talk about barriers for financing and funding and everything else, have there been any changes since you've started doing this?
I would say there's been changes on a national landscape. So there was a grant that recently came out for Black-led and Black-serving businesses, but that was a Canada-wide initiative. But I'm still not seeing anything yet on a province-wide level, which I know that other provinces have funds specifically to support the Black community. I think there's like a multiculturalism grant of like 1,500, but that makes little to no impact considering the amount of businesses that we have to help and support, especially in this economy. So not much changes on the end of like grants, but changes in terms of people are willing to come to the table and have a discussion. So the next step would be, let's actually put the discussions in place and have actions and steps taken to support the Black businesses.
What do business owners or potential business owners, what types of things do they say to you?
I would say they do, like, they have really huge aspirations. Like, at the end of the day, everyone wants to be able to move out from just selling to their friends or people that they know into having like a physical location. And that is something that seems like a dream that is so far away, and they don't know whether they'd be able to accomplish that. And the reason for that is it's the information, number one, isn't available, and there are a lot of barriers that we have to face to get access to these grants, whether that be from an immigration perspective, from a bias perspective, or from the requirements not intentionally excluding people that are new or newcomers to Canada. So there's a lot of barriers that they have to face even to access that funding to begin with. That's like the major thing for now. Yeah.
What other barriers do you think? What are the easier ones? So funding, if it's different funding, right? If there's decisions around that, that's a decision level thing that can be decided and brought forward, right?
Yeah.
If the policy has changed or,
Yeah.
or whatever. What other types of barriers do you think are easier to break down than others? Is there anything that comes to mind that like you think, well, if this was changed right away, like it could make a big difference?
I think one barrier that could be broken down is even just like opening your mindset or like away from the scope of what you would typically go to. So for example, if you were looking to have a nice meal today, just an example, the typical will be like, oh, like I'm going to go to DoorDash, or like this is business that I usually order from. However, a lot of the Black-owned businesses aren't on DoorDash, they aren't on Skip the Dishes. So the question is, oh, like how can I find them? But there's pages like Centra and like Laurabelle, like we consistently post about like Black-owned businesses that are like up and about in the province. So you could take the extra step to like go out and like see what's out there outside of what you usually do. Like just support these Black-owned businesses the same way you support other businesses, because they're very much a part of the community. So it's a way that would make them feel belonged and like accepted within the community if there's that support for them.
Now, when we say support local, there's
Yeah.
a lot to local.
Yes, and Black businesses are very much part of local, so they should be supported as well. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this place where we are today?
I love it. I guess it's a little bit more personal just because when Palm first came to Newfoundland and Labrador, I think I was like one of her maybe first 5 or 10 clients. And I remember like sitting in her room when we were doing my hair and helping her create a Facebook account. I was like, hey, Newfoundland is a bit different. You can do the online stuff, yes, but a lot of people use like Facebook as a way to get connected with the community. So we're walking through creating a Facebook account, trying to see how she could like attract other clientele that weren't only like Black people, because she's a beauty service in general, so she services different people of different races and ethnicity. So it was even like having that conversation like, oh, like how can I market my product so that other people know that, hey, that they can also like come here and get their services done here as well. So to see her grow from like that conversation in her house on Facebook to having like her own physical location, like it's almost, I'm happy. You think I was the person that opened the business, but I'm just so happy. It's heartwarming. Just being here for the past couple years, this is something that I've never had. Like I could walk in today and be like, hey, can you like touch up my hair for me today? Like just as I'm scrolling casually, and that's not something that I would have been able to do before. So it's amazing.
I find it fascinating the discussion around being in a spot and understanding the culture for setting up a business and finding clientele and getting the word out, because I never really thought about that before, but yeah, if you're new somewhere and you're like, I want to start a business, well, what's the best way to, like, how do I reach people? Like, how do I get the word out? And just having folks and having enough of a community to kind of help newcomers with that.
Yes.
and show them what is there and like ways to kind of communicate. That's a gigantic kind of step or boost or lift up for people. Like, and I guess like for other businesses, it's similar for the conversations that you're having too. Hey, like just the understanding of the local environment.
Yes, it's a similar conversation that we're having, and it's a little bit different in the sense of yes, everyone has to push to get their business seen, but there's still elements of unconscious bias. So even when you see, for most parts, if you're seeing businesses advertise, it's not people that look like me. It's like other type of races and ethnicity, and that's what you're used to. So if you're scrolling and then you see like Afro hair or you see like Afrocentric features for a business, it's not intentional. That's why it's unconscious. That will pick your brain a bit like, oh, this is different. And different doesn't necessarily mean good or bad, but the fact that that stands out in itself can go either or direction. So they have to face bigger obstacles because they have to overcome that unconscious bias. I think a couple of days ago there was actually a beauty service that was being promoted on a Facebook group, and then the post got reported. There was nothing different about it. It was just same way, like it was different hairstyles on like black people, and for some reason the post got reported on Facebook, and that's within Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's what I mean by there is other obstacles that we need to face outside of just promoting, because there was an unconscious bias there. I don't know what triggered the reaction. I don't know. I'm not the person who reported the post, but that's what I mean by even though you put yourself out there, you have more obstacles to face simply because you are black.
Yeah, so some folks will look at me, that's different, and you don't know why this was reported in this case, but it triggered something in someone.
Yeah.
And just kind of reading through some of what you're saying too, it's just like, yes, if you have a black-owned business or if you've got pictures of black folks being advertised, it's not excluding, it's saying, hi, we're here, we're part of the community, you're welcome too, but here we are, and here's our place.
Yeah, because there's nothing here for us, so it's not any different like how, I guess, the target market for like other businesses, it's not people of color, it's not black people, because a lot of people aren't trained on how to do our texture of hair, so they're not marketing to us. But when you have a black-owned business that has, it's like the black-owned businesses have to train themselves not only how to do black people hair, but how to do hairs of other races and ethnicities. And it's something that we discussed a lot, like how black people always have to go above and beyond to simply be at, I wouldn't even say average, maybe even below average, because of how the community like receives our product and stuff like that, versus our counterparts who like their business can survive with only doing like non-black people's hair. Like that's fine, that's how they've been existing for so long. But black people have to go and learn how to do everyone's hair, and I feel like the same thing should be applied to other businesses. Like there's training available, learn how to do other textures so that your business is representative of the entire community, because the community is no longer just one race or ethnicity, it's grown a lot. So accommodate your business to represent and serve the entire community, because black businesses are doing the same, and I think other businesses should strive to do that as well.
Yeah, I think some people across the province, sometimes it can be surprising knowing just the numbers. I mean, I remember last year talking to folks about the Nigerian diaspora here, and it's thousands of people and growing, right? Like it was smaller a decade ago, but now it is thousands. Like I think the last estimate I heard was anywhere upwards of 5,000 maybe, which is like, 3 to 5 was the number. So, there's a little bit of a cheat in there, but like 3 to 5 is still like it's thousands of people, which is a lot.
Yes, it is, and it's growing a lot. And if we want the people to stay in the community, they need to feel welcome. And how do they feel welcome? It's by people opening their doors and offering their services to take care of their own needs as well. Because even things like skincare, like going to a dermatologist, I personally would feel more comfortable if I went to a dermatologist that had knowledge about how to take care of my skin and my skin texture and my skin type. Because the products, our skins react differently, so the products that work on my skin tone may not work on like a lighter skin tone, for example. So it's little things like that that would make that community that's growing feel welcomed and want to stay. Yeah.
Thanks for this, Nicole.
Thank you.
I'm Adam Walsh. You were listening to The Signal. We're live on location at Palms Beauty Store, a black-owned shop in the Village Mall, and we're talking about small business development. We're talking about community. We're talking about culture, all through this lunch hour here, and it's nice. I'm joined by Esther Success, who's the owner. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having us over. You've been you were busy earlier. Tell the folks what you were doing.
I was just styling a wig for someone that happens to have alopecia. She had to come in to have it like customized to her face, to suit her face and everything like that.
Tell me about yourself. Who is Esther Success?
Well, my name is Esther Success Ukwe. I'm from Nigeria. I'm 26. I'm currently doing my master's at Labrador University of Newfoundland. I'm doing artificial intelligence, and I happen to have a small business. That's why I'm here today. I also just moved to Newfoundland in 2022. I came here to study and also do my business. So
All right, so 2022, you arrive in St. John's. What was that first day like?
oh my god. The first day was crazy. I arrived and I literally rode out of the airport with my boxes and I threw my boxes and I just ran back in because it was like I wasn't dressed. I wasn't dressed properly. It was really cold. And I think the preceding days were worse because I had to figure out moving around the city all by myself and like finding my courses and my classes and everything. So it's been a hustle, but I think I'm settling in.
How's the cold treating you now?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. You're wearing sleeves, yeah.
Yeah.
So you show up, right? 2022, right? You're getting used to the cold. You're studying at Memorial University, artificial intelligence. When do you start doing some business stuff? Like, how does that start for like salon? Because you started at home, I guess, or like, tell me about those beginnings.
Okay, I was living up in Signal Hill. I think I came with some of my hair products because, like, I always loved doing hair. Like, I do hair for myself and for my friends. So I did come with some of my hair products, and I think I had my first client in about a week because I did make some posts on Instagram, and I had my first set of clients like in about a week, and it's just been up and about since then.
When you got those first clients, what were they saying to you about just the fact that you were starting these services?
A lot of people were excited because it was like, okay, it's a professional job. And because I started from home and I was like alternating between my home and like going to people's houses, it was convenient. It was like I had someone coming to get her hair washed at my place and she almost started crying because she hasn't had her hair washed since she left Nigeria. So that was very, it was good. It was a good feeling for me and for her too. Yeah.
Yeah, like, of course, right? If you hadn't had that done professionally since you left like where you moved from as a newcomer here, and then all that time later getting it done, of course, I could see that being such a big thing. So do you get that? Like, is that a reaction that you get often then from folks coming in?
Yes, it is. It is. It's very, because while I was growing up, it was a thing to look forward to on Sundays where I have to go to the salon with my mom and bond with like different people and hear like stories and get your hair done. And then you didn't have to always explain stuff to people about like how to handle your hair or treat your hair. So I think it's good for people to be able to walk in here and just have that done. And then I get all these reactions like, oh my God, I haven't had my scalp washed properly. Like I always do it this way, or my hair isn't tangled this time around. I'm so happy to be here. So that's been like general reaction I've gotten.
So you're going to folks' places, they're coming to you, you're talking to people, meeting people. When does the idea come of you thinking, you know what, it'd be nice to have a location?
Okay, I moved from my first apartment in January because it was just a single room that happened to have like my home and my salon. It's in a single room. So the crowd kept coming and it became too small. And so we had to move from the first location to the second location downtown. But then the crowd became way too much too. And then there wasn't enough parking. So we had to like look for a general location that had parking and easy access and just like having snow clearing because I struggle with that till now.
Oh yes, it's a special thing, snow in this province. There's so much of it.
Yes, so that's when the idea came in, like to move to like a more commercial location, just because it was a lot more easier and then accessible for everyone.
So how long have you been here in the village?
I opened here in December.
Yeah.
So I did an official opening December 8th, but I've been here since November 30th, about that time, last year.
What difference has it made being here from opening compared to what you're doing before?
So because I'm a student, I'm like juggling school and like work. When I was back home, it's easier to schedule my clients, but here I have to always be here. It doesn't matter if I have an appointment or not, because we have walk-ins, so I have to be here at all times, and I also have to be at school at some times. So that's like a huge difference for me. I've had like a couple of like part-time staffs coming to work for a bit, but it's literally been like having to like balance that is a little different for me.
Yeah, I mean, there've been walk-ins today since I've been here, right? Which is really neat. A couple of people came up and they're asking about like their hair, getting their hair done. I'm like, oh, I'm not the person to talk to. Like, hey, Esther's just over there.
But I could employ.
Yeah, hey, like I will give you a call. I'll send you my resume.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. See, I've got Amanda Gears here looking at me laughing. I'm getting another job for afterwards to pay the bills, just in case. It's all. Hey, in this climate, you never know, right? So you're employing. You got some part-time students going on. You're working here. You're here a lot. Tell us about the range of services that you do here.
Okay, so in as much as I started from the braid angle, because like I noticed like the vacancy, the space where there are not like a lot of professional braiders for like black hair. I actually happen to offer a wide range of services that starts from braiding to hair extensions to wig customizations to lash extensions. Generally, everything that has to do with beauty, because this is a space for everyone to feel safe. And it's not like what I'm trying to do is create a space where you can get any of the services done. It's not just like specific to like braids. Yes, we offer braids, we offer extensions, lashes, makeup, semi-permanent makeup for like people that have like hair loss. Yep, so we can have like brows done on you, so you don't have to walk around feeling very insecure. We also offer
Lots of stuff, right? It's well, we're just looking around. More people are walking in. You offer tons of stuff. Earlier, like when we first started talking there, you mentioned the client who walked in with some wig work done, right?
Yeah.
And you said like you do stuff for folks with hair loss. What's the reaction, or how important is it for folks? What do they tell you about after the fact when you help them when it comes to hair loss and wig work or for eyebrows or anything else?
So I think like it's for women generally, when you step out of your house with your hair undone or something not looking good, so you feel some sort of way, even if no one's noticing that about you. So I usually get the reaction where people get their hair, the wig like customized, and it helps blend in. Like they feel normal. If they feel good about themselves. Because the lady that just walked in here was telling me that she had her first hair loss completely gone, like when she was 15, and she's 51 right now. So that's been like 40 years, about 40 years of like having to cope without any hair. And I said to her, like, how did you cope between that time and now? Because like wigs just came out like 5 to 10 years ago. So how did you cope for like almost 20 years with no hair whatsoever? And she was like, it was really hard, and like people were mean because like she was in high school and everything. So she was excited. Her mom was here and she was like, oh my God, it feels a lot better. It looks real. Like you don't have to go around looking like everyone's looking at you, or like people are going to pick on you or feel some sort of way.
Massive confidence boost, hey? And just like just feeling, that you can walk out without having that type of negativity directed towards you. I mean, I can only imagine how important that would be.
Yes, it is. When you look good, you feel good, sort of. But like, it also helps your confidence. It helps how you appear in the world, and like because when you feel confident, people perceive the positive energy from you, and it's just good energy all the way.
In the meantime, you're studying artificial intelligence. Like, when did you, like, why artificial intelligence? It's brand new, kind of, at least like for a lot of folks talking about it. What was the thing that pushed you into that, or that you said, no, this is for me?
Okay, so I did my first degree in information technology, where you have to like create apps, because I'm a lazy person, so I find a way.
How are you lazy? You're running your own business, studying at school, employing people. That's not a lazy person.
I like to find easier ways or better ways of doing stuff, smart work, not hard work. So studying information technology, my first degree, it just like led me in, like try to program systems that do all this stuff for you at your own convenience. You don't have to be there all the time. And then when I was doing my project for my first degree, it was directed towards, I did a project on viruses, like having to separate different, because it was during the time where we had the COVID. So it just hit me that, we couldn't tell what virus one person had, one person did not have. So I did something in that in that field, like having to like separate different viruses. And then, so when I found out that Newfoundland offered like artificial intelligence, because basically it's just like creating a system that replicates human intelligence, and like, because when the COVID hit, people couldn't be outside, people couldn't have like direct conversations like this, you couldn't diagnose people physically. So it made sense if a machine was doing that for you, you wouldn't worry about your own health. So when I heard that Newfoundland was offering it, I just like, okay, this is what I want to do. And because I had the background in information technology, it was easier to just transition into that.
Very cool. And when will you finish?
I think I should be finishing in January. That's next year, January, yeah.
Okay. Congrats in advance. Congrats on your business. This is great. And thanks so much for letting us hang out here today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll let you get back to work.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Esther. All right, folks, Adam Walsh here. This is The Signal live on location. We're at Palms Beauty Store in the Village. I'm Adam Walsh. This is The Signal. We're live on location from the mall. No, not that mall, the Village Mall. And we're at Palms Beauty Store. We're talking business development for small businesses, community, culture. Laura Bell Umba is my main guest here today. You know Laura Bell from public speaking, host of Out of the Fog on Rogers TV in St. John's. Also, and there's a change here because like I wrote my notes and then we talked and then I rewrote my notes because I was going to say, Laura Bell from Race to Dinner NL, but there's been a switch. Tell us about it.
So yeah, we are no longer called Race to Dinner NL. We are now called Laura Beltenbach Consulting. So it's an expansion and grouping all the things that I do, the public speaking, the anti-racism training, the diversity equity work, all of that under me, because people are used to seeing me and knowing me, and my name brings more for Race to Dinner than Race to Dinner NL. And then in the work of rebranding, because Race to Dinner exists in the U.S. and their work is specifically with just white women in the United States, we do a lot more with organizations and businesses, small groups, and all of that. So we are Race Table Talks. Same format, same great conversation, different name.
Yeah, remind us how this works.
Absolutely. So for Race Table Talk, you'll have 2 racialized co-facilitators, and then the rest of the attendees are not racialized. So just means generally white people around the table with 2 people who are not white around the table, and we talk about what racism actually means in Newfoundland and Labrador, in society, in workplaces, in private lives, and what you can do on that journey to becoming anti-racist if that's what you want to do, or just creating safety for racialized people so that we can show up authentically in our spaces.
We're talking a lot about black hair here today, and in social, I guess, whether it's media or life, it can come up in conversation. What's the best way for folks to kind of understand some of the cultural aspects of black hair, if it's an entry point for them and they're not used to talking about it? Like me, for example, as I'm doing this right now.
There's a wonderful documentary that's super funny done by Chris Rock called Good Hair, which basically explains what black hair is for men and women, the journey, how we experience it, what it actually means to us, because hair means so much to the black community, whether you're talking about slavery, where hair became maps, a way of carrying stories, telling where they came from, hiding food on the escape from the slave trade. It was so crucial to the survival of black people back then. But then if you're talking about like African and Caribbean countries, hair is culture. Different cultures have different hairstyles, different ways of telling stories, different hairstyles for weddings, for funerals. It is so intricately bred into everything about the black experience. You can't have black people without talking about the way they experience their hair.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No worries.
We're going to bring someone else in this conversation. Who are we bringing in?
We are bringing the one who walked so the rest of us can run, the one and only Yao from 1949 Barbershop. When people ask who did it first, usually in the community, we point to Yao and Gustavo and what they started with 1949, known as the Multicultural Barbershop. It was one of the first places black men and racialized men, and generally men of any race and creed, could come together and experience that barbershop feeling without feeling like they were separate from community. So because Yao existed, the rest of us now get to.
All right. Yao and Jay, there you are. Come on over. How you doing? It's been a long time.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Give us the reminder of the start. Like, so when did 1949 start, and what was that like?
1949 started around 2014, 2015, and it was almost like a hangout place It wasn't fully fledged barber shop per se, but it was a place where boys go and hang out, chat, and get some drinks. And my friend and business partner Gustavo, he is the one who started it. So 2016, he reached out to me. I was in Toronto. I moved down here to study, and then I joined hands with him to do what we're doing now. So the name was something that we actually had a discussion, because when I came, it was in 1949. We talked about what name to go with. We considered 709. Unfortunately, that was already taken. And then we settled on 1949, which is the Confederation Day, the date for which Newfoundland became part of Canada. It's very historic and something that will resonate well with the people. So we settled on that, and it's been a journey, ups and downs, but all in all, I would say we're doing pretty good now. Yeah.
How many locations now?
We have 3 locations. We have Torbay Road. It actually started at Mary Meeting, but unfortunately we were lacking barbers, so we had to shut that one down. So we have one in Village Mall here, Torbay Road, and the new one in CBS now. Yeah, so 3 locations.
It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's doing good.
What are, like, for these types of small businesses, what have been or what are some of the challenges? Like, so because you mentioned finding barbers is one. What else?
I think as a small business, the main challenge for us has always been barbers, because if you don't have enough barbers, you can't expand. That's one. And 2, even if you want to keep at the same standard, you should have barbers that will be with you for a certain period of time to keep that standard. But unfortunately, in Newfoundland, it's hard to keep workers, especially young, talented barbers. They keep moving, so that's what hurts us the most. And aside that, maybe we talk about financing and all those things, but we haven't had a serious challenge when it comes to financing, because we try to do our best to keep the business going. So that's basically the challenge that we face, finding the right kind of barbers to keep for.
Yeah, because it's a personality fit too, right?
Oh yeah, it's a diverse environment, and I can tell you, not everybody that will fit in that space. We work in a space where, like, we allow people to express themselves freely. People who are more sensitive, it's hard to deal with such situations, because I've had that before. So when looking for someone who has the right skill, you also try to find a balance if the person has the social skill as well, to keep the barbershop going, because constantly you are interacting with people, so you need to have that in it.
Yeah. No, it's barbershops. It's just, yeah, it's all people interaction, right? Like all of it. It's so much. Who, when we talk about the 1949 community, right? 3 locations. Who's your community that you have coming in through the doors?
Right now, if this question was asked, I would say maybe 2017, I would say the black community or immigrants. But now that is not the case. Now it's everybody. We even have more locals than we do have the black. So it's for everybody now, and the place is so lively. Everybody wants to be there and have fun, talk. The one in the village, for instance, we have a pool table where, like, people coming around can play game whilst others are having haircut and stuff like that. And constantly we are playing, like, music from all over. It's not just one type of genre. We play music from all over. So people have, like, variety when they come there. And we do give the best haircut, I should say. Yeah.
What does it say to you that, so if I interviewed you, I've talked to you a few times, right? But we talked just for the opening up through the pandemic. But if we were to go back to 2017 when you said, oh, it would have been the black community then and the immigrant or the newcomer community, and the fact that it's really expanded to everyone now, what does that say to you about success for your business and being with the community?
It's actually positive, and I can see there's more room for improvement. We can expand and do better than what we're doing. And one interesting thing is to break into the local community. At first it was hard because even the whole concept of having the barbershop was tailored towards the black community. Just by, I would say, accident, that you have somebody who gathered the courage to come in there and get a haircut. And after that, the word went out there. And I also have to mention CBC. CBC did an interview, I think, in 2017, and that interview reached far for people to know that we exist. And from there on, we keep getting people from all over, and that's the secret about our success. We've managed to break through both immigrant community and the locals. So we're trying our best to give back to the community as well, because we've been involved in several social events and community activities. We have a soccer team just trying to bring people together and all that. So it's not just a barbershop. We are creating a community on its own and trying to extend our help whichever way that we could to several people, especially the newcomers, to find their feet when they get in.
I mean, community, it's important, right? It's understatement of the year. When this place here, when Palms opened, what did you think?
Amazing, because since we're predominantly male focused barbershop, and I don't even need to tell you how many times we get calls, people asking for place to do their hair, the female and others. People with afro hair especially, they have nowhere to go and all that. I know people do one or two in their homes and stuff like that, but to have space open like this where everybody can go in, it's amazing. And it's just tell the story about the input or the impact the immigrant community is having on Newfoundland and Labrador.
Thanks for this again. Nice seeing you again. It's great to know how well the business is doing, and I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, folks. One of the owners of the 1949 barbershop there, Yao Antwi Ajay. Let me check in with my main guest here now, as we're getting down in time. Let's sail this ship home, shall we? With a few minutes left.
Let's do it.
What are your ending thoughts for? It was great talking to Yao again. How well they're doing, and you mentioned just whether it's trailblazing or just kind of being out in front here, right? That type of leadership. Just to kind of underscore or reiterate some of those thoughts, if you could, as we kind of close the show.
So we have people like Yao who have done the initial and have expanded. So it shows that it's possible for businesses like Palms Beauty. Yao is not a one and only. He is the beginning of what community building looks like for Black and racialized businesses within Newfoundland and Labrador, creating space and sense of community. So I'm hoping that because Yao existed, as Palms Beauty and Esther exist, it means that we can continue to grow. And for people who are like, if you continue to grow, what does that mean for the rest of Newfoundland and Labrador? This isn't if we exist, you no longer exist kind of thing, because people have that scarcity mindset. It means if we exist, others can exist too, and we can have thriving economic sustainability within our province. So this is looking at the long-term vision of what Newfoundland and Labrador looks like. It means when people move here to keep our population afloat, they can access things that make them feel at home, that continues to build our community. So that way you can have hair care, jollof rice, salt beef in the same place, and it's not one or the other.
No one's taking a piece of the pie. You're making a bigger, more delicious pie.
Absolutely. It's a charcuterie board that is a lot more flavorful.
I really appreciate this as always. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun.
All right, folks, that is it for today's show, live on location at Palms Beauty Store at the Village Mall. That conversation, right? Business development, small businesses, community, culture. Thanks again to all the guests, especially Laura Umba, my main guest here today. Tomorrow, it's what is it? I think it's the first Friday of the month. Is that right, Amanda Gear? She's not. I mean, that's right. That means it's Trivia Day. John Gushu will be by to talk all about trivia, and he's all warmed up and ready to pitch some real doozies. Who writes this stuff? Oh, I do. That's right. It's a horrible line, Adam. Anyways, taking us out for today, ahead of trivia, so get ready for trivia tomorrow. We've got The Weekend with Blinding Lights. Thanks for listening.